Okay. Hi, folks. Steven here. This is going to be a little bit of a recap of today's events, kind of on two fronts. There's going to be a little talk of Record Store Day and also the Pokemon Go Community Day. Now, I guess full disclosure, Record Store Day this year did not have any Pokemon explicitly related stuff on there. But I did kind of want to share my experience and what I did with that. Pokemon Go Community Day, of course, that was the Bagon event where you could, let's see, catch a lot of those. Let's see, give it a second here. All right, there we are. Checking my monitor over here on the right. If you do have any comments, go ahead, type those into the chat, and I'll try and answer those. We'll also be talking about some regular old channel business and things of that nature. In any case, let's get the sort of the first part done. We're going to talk about the Record Store Day. So, in case you know, Record Store Day is held every year, usually in April. There's also a smaller Black Friday Record Store Day on Black Friday. And I was really hoping there'd be some Pokemon stuff this year. I figured with Detective Pikachu coming out next month, they'd try to squeeze something in. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But nothing on the list this year. There were some things I was interested in, but nothing so much that I had to be there first thing morning. So I kind of came right after I got a haircut, actually, pretty much. Well, I did eat breakfast and then go to the store, but you get the idea. This was over at, let's see, Mad City Music, which is over on the east side of Madison. This is a place I've been going to for records today. There's about 4 or 5 different locations in Madison. Madison's a pretty big supporter, I guess you could say, of Record Store Day and the like. But there are places across the country, and in fact, there are international versions as well today. So anyway, a place I went to, I'll just sort of put this in there. Let's see if you can, there we go. So this was they gave it these nice bags, actually, there. Now you can see this says Record Store Day. For some reason, there is a snake on there. I wish I could explain the meaning there. I'm not sure precisely why. But you notice down here it says WSUM, let's see, as their 91.7, if I'm reading that backwards correctly. This is the, if I remember correctly, this is the student-run campus radio station on there. No affiliation to any of this, but I did want to kind of point that out. And then, of course, Madison on the bottom. But this is the first time they've done something like this, which is pretty neat. Let me see. And there was even a little poster here that came with the thing there for the store themselves put out. So I think this gets a little bigger each year. But let me talk about the actual Record Store Day purchases I made. There was a lot of stuff to choose from. Some of the stuff I was kind of interested in was already sold out. There was apparently a 45 RPM small 7-inch record with some Ninja Turtles songs on it. But unfortunately, that was already sold out by the time I got there. Like I said, not super broken up, but if they ever do a Pokemon thing with this, I think I may have to camp out. In any case, let's see. All right, and let's see. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing. Unfortunately, I did not take any of the price stickers off any of these, so you're going to know how much I paid for each of them, pretty much. But this is a Louis Armstrong Disney album. Basically, he did a bunch of covers of a bunch of different classic songs. Let's see, this was originally released in, well, it says 1996, but I'm guessing it was probably recorded sometime before then, I think. Wish I had a better answer there. Let's see. I think what the newest name I got. So let's see. Bare Necessities from Jungle Book. 7 Dwarves. Let's see. That one I've never heard of. The one and only genuine original family band. Let's see. Poppins. Yeah, so no earlier than like the 60s, because I'm pretty sure that's when the original Jungle Book came out. But this was just kind of, and they used to do art like this on these where it was all like, I'm not sure if that's acrylic or I think, or like watercolor or something like that of that nature. Maybe pastels. I'm not 100% sure exactly what, but there's a lot of like Disney stuff from this era where the covers are done in this style. So that was one of the full albums, one of the actual Record Store Day releases I got. Let's see, and then here's another one I was interested in. So let's see, yeah, this is This is the soundtrack to the first of the Kelvin timeline Star Trek movies. It's got you can kind of tell that's the Enterprise they got there from the new ones. This is all the score to the movie, which I thought was okay. It does use it uses the Alexander Courage original Star Trek TV series theme in parts of the score. Personally, I prefer the Star Trek motion picture / TNG theme, which I guess they're not making any more Kelvin movies. We'll see if that Picard TV show ever gets off the ground. But you can take a look at the back here. It's got a picture of them building the Kelvin timeline Enterprise and stuff like that. So this is a sort of a personal interest of mine, and things of that nature. But those were the 2 Record Store Day actual releases. However, I did dig around the store a little bit and found a few more things that I wanted. Let's see. I've got a bunch of different things here, but all on 45 RPM singles. Let's see. All have some to do with me, so picked a nice a nice bit of different things here. Let's see. We got they had a bunch of movie soundtrack stuff from the 80s, which is some of my favorite things. I think the 80s was sort of the peak of the pop music soundtrack type of thing, where you do a big song to do that. It sort of blends in the 90s, but it's much less common now for something that's not like a musical. But this is this is the main theme from E.T., written by John Williams, of course. It's got a nice little slipcover in there. Of course, E.T. and Elliot touching fingers there, so that's an interesting thing there. Let's see, what else did I pick up? Weird Al's Living with a Hernia. So this was from his Polka Party album, which didn't do super well. He kind of knew going into this that Living with a Hernia, parody of Living in America, wasn't maybe the best choice there, but it was what he had to work with when he was doing albums one year. I do have the album. I'm not sure if I have it on vinyl. I definitely have it on cassette. But always like to find these things when I can. So, yep, Living with a Hernia. And sorry that band is getting mentioned again here. We have Good Times, INXS, and Jimmy Barnes from, let's see, The Lost Boys, which I don't know much about as a movie, but I have heard of this song before, and I figured I might as well pick this up while I found it. Like I said, they had a lot of soundtrack stuff in there at the store. Yeah, let's see. Movie I've seen, although not, I'm more familiar with the later part of it. So this is Somewhere Out There. Let's see, I think it says Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram. This is from, of course, the mid-'80s movie, let's see, An American Tale, or Fievel, as it's often known. I believe there was also Fievel Goes West, and then there was a TV series in the early 90s, which is what I remember the most. That was set in that Western setting, I guess after the second movie or whatever. But I really do like when, once you got, especially when you get these movie ones, they would do these nice little picture sleeves for the, there we go, 45 RPM record. So really nice picture there of, Fievel getting off the boat as, I guess, an invasive species into America, with other folks at, you can see the Statue of Liberty. This is ostensibly it's Ellis Island. But very nice artwork there from the movie. It's been a long time. I'm pretty sure I've seen the movie at least once, but I think it's been a long time. But very nice there. Let's see. And then this is an art group you'll find a lot of their stuff around the Madison area, because they were really popular here in their heyday. This is the Nylons. I've mentioned them before. They were a doo-wop a cappella group and things of that nature. But this is the 45 RPM single for, let's see, Kiss 'Em Goodbye. It's What They Call Magic is the B-side. Let's see, Kiss 'Em Goodbye was their big, there was a cover of the song, I believe, originally by Steam from the 70s. It's my favorite version of that song, I think in part just because I was most familiar with it. But I think also because I think it does the verses justice, which I think a lot of the covers of Kiss 'Em Goodbye focus probably too much on the on the chorus, go and kiss Nana hey hey, all that stuff. But I think this one actually does the verses reasonably well. But these are they also had one for, I think, oh, Happy Together, song that does have Pokemon connections. I like their version, all with due respect to the Turtles. But I think I already have that single somewhere, so I didn't really need it. But I also have like the 12-inch remix single that they did. This was big enough to get one of those back in like '87, I think it was. Let's see, it's in, there you go, yeah, 1987. Okay. And that was what I picked up at the record store for Record Store Day. Overall, pretty satisfied. Like I said, I mean, I knew going in there wouldn't be any Pokemon stuff. I really do hope that at some point we get either the first movie soundtrack or To Be a Master as a vinyl release. Some of it is probably just the Pokemon Company, which would have to work on clearing some of that stuff. Is not. I'll be honest, they're pretty understaffed, and it's probably not their highest priority. To a certain extent, that's fine. It's just that I kind of wish they had more time to do stuff like that. I did notice later today that they are putting, they put the original Britney Spears album, what is it? Oh, Baby One More Time on vinyl. And that has Soda Pop, so if you want to own another Pokemon song, but I would personally just wait for the other stuff there if that ever comes out. We'll see what they do later this year with the first movie effectively getting remade. I do kind of worry, though, what kind of supply there would be. There were a lot of, actually, soundtrack type stuff this year. There was, well, let's see, it was 20th anniversary, speaking of 1999, the South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. They had that out this year. I think they had The Crow. I think that might be 25 years for that one. I'm not 100% sure. And a bunch of other stuff. They had, Multiplication Rock, I think it was called, or something like that. This is that, I think it was part of the Schoolhouse Rock thing. There's sort of their math segments in there. So a lot of things to choose from. I didn't quite feel like picking up everything in there that I might have been interested in, but those were sort of the big ones there. I don't want to collect too much vinyl, even though I like it. Like I said, any comments on Record Store Day or anything like that? I do think, like I said, there really is a market for, let's see how things are going on, some Pokemon stuff eventually in there. Like I said, we'll see what they do for Black Friday, since presumably the movie will be released. The Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution or whatever is going to get, I guess they really can't call it, I'm not sure what they're going to call it, first movie evolution or something like that, but we got to get through Detective Pikachu first. Not that I'm expecting that to be bad or anything. I'm just still don't know what they're going to do with the soundtrack for that either. Okay, so let's talk about Pokemon Go. So today was the community day for April. Actually a fair number of things going on in Pokemon Go. Let's see. So today was the Bagon day. So basically there were a lot of Bagon. Every community day works kind of like this. There's a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a featured Pokemon. Your goal is to catch enough of them, get enough candy to fully evolve it, because you usually get some sort of special move if you do that during the event time. As I'm doing this, I guess there's still some time on the West Coast to go through this if you happen to be listening live, but ran from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And let's just sort of talk there. Now, one nice thing is I did prepare better for this one than some of the previous ones. I remembered to get my battery pack or my portable USB charger type thing battery, so I could take some AR photos, which should be a lot of fun to take a look at here. And I also got wore my heavy jacket, or my winter coat, because it was not super great out today. If you wanted to be out for an extended period of time, it was only getting into like the low 40s. You never know what you're going to get in April in Wisconsin. But anyway, you may remember the last time I did a live thing, I had some problems showing photos because my computer's OS got upgraded and the Windows photo thing doesn't map incorrectly, but I believe I figured around that. So let's see here. Let me get... I'm going to screen share a PowerPoint presentation. Although that's a bit of a... Let's see here. Hopefully this works out the way I think it will. All right, let's go. From current slide. All right, I'll give this a second. I want to check up on the right-hand side on my screen there to see if this does what I think it does. Let's find out. Unfortunately, there's a bit of lag. But what you should be seeing here right now are a couple of the first Pokemon I caught. Obviously, once the event started, there were a ton of Bagon in the area. As usual, I did most of this on the... Let's see, the stream is catching up. You want to get an idea of what the lag is like. Let's see. Well, I'm not sure. Like I said, still kind of... let's see. So 1 second here. Let me... give me a second here to figure this one out. Okay, 1 second. Screen share. Let me change which window it's going to. See if I can, actually. Apologies for this. Still trying to... crud, that's not what I want. I wanted to screen share. Thank you. PowerPoint slideshow. There we go. Sorry about that. Still trying to figure out the best way to do this. In any case, you could see the pictures there, but basically this was outside. This is all on the west side of Madison was where I did Pokemon Go Community Day. But you can see on the left there's the Bagon. Like I said, I was able to, thanks to the USB thing, I was able to do some nice AR photos of that nature. As you can see on the right-hand picture, I was trying to catch a Ghastly. It was pretty mostly overcast, mostly cloudy today. There were some occasional breaks where the sun could peek through and stuff of that nature. But yeah, first Bagon was over there. Let's see, near a sort of a restaurant that I've been to. Not sure exactly what that bicycle type thing there in the background is supposed to be. It's not a functioning bicycle, in case you're curious. Anyway, let's go on to our next stuff. So I did complete a fair bit of research today. Now, a lot of the research tasks I got today were kind of, unfortunately, they were catch 3 Bagon and do some stuff. But I managed to complete a fair number of things. I even got like 3 greats in a row, which was actually through the Regice you can see right now. Basically, after completing a certain number of tasks, once you get through enough field research and you get enough stamps there, you get to do a big catch like this one. And I managed to catch this Regice, which I think came in handy a little bit later. Let's see. That's nice. Okay. Let me make sure I get rid of... Still learning some things here. All right, there we go. Okay. There we are. Nice clean presentation. It's apparently, just looking at it now, it's XL. And by the way, I want to thank, you may have noticed last weekend during my video I put up on Lou Pearlman and the boy band con from a Pokemon perspective, I had a little sticker on. Gave blood last weekend. Not really trying to brag there, but they did let me know that it's possible to take a snapshot of the screen there. So big thanks to those folks. But anyway, it took me a while to catch this thing because it's, you know, I think the term is legendary, not mythical, legendary. Even if it's not the highest level legendary there is out there, but it took me a while to get it. But I think it was worth it, and it was pretty, pardon the pun, cool to be able to pick this one up. And as you can see, I need to power it up some more and give it a little more strength there. But I did end up using it through the rest of the day. It was actually pretty useful. So let's see. Head over to... So I went over to a local... Like I said, none of these are supposed to be endorsements or anything. I'm just telling you where I went. I went to a local Chipotle and to grab some food because it's been a while since I had breakfast. And that was where I found the first of, I believe, 2 shiny Bagon during this one. So here's another fun little AR photo that I got while trying to catch it. It's always interesting. Since it uses so much battery, I tend not to use the AR so much. But here I think it looks just kind of funny because I think the heights are designed so that if the Pokemon is like on the ground, it looks about right. But because of the way it looks here, it looks like it's only like 6 inches tall, which is not actually the case. But I kind of forgot what augmented reality mode on this was like because I've been using the lower battery consumption mode for the most part. But yeah, so it's green. I suppose I could make some sort of joke about guacamole, but I'm not going to. All right. So right after this, I noticed that there was a raid battle starting. This was a little ways north of that, and actually it's in the middle of a business park, excuse me, on the border between the city of Madison and the city of Middleton, which go right up next to each other. And as you can kind of guess from pictures there, this was an Executor. It's a level 2 raid, and kind of unfortunately, no one else came around, but I still managed to do it and get this to work all on my own there. The way this one, it seemed like it worked out pretty well there. Of course, you can see in the middle is the AR shot of, I assume, me trying to catch it. And of course, it's got, because it's so tall, it works out kind of weird, but I was able to manage to get it, to knock it out all by myself without any other help. And you can sort of see on the right. Now, I'm not 100% sure. We'll get into this a little bit later if that's the correct Executor, although I didn't have a regular one prior to this, so it was a new Pokedex entry. But Grass Dragon, 11 meters tall. So honestly, some nice stuff there. I hope to get more use out of this in the future. I do kind of, well, the raid battle was nice, but this area of Madison unfortunately doesn't have a lot of Pokestops in this business park. This one happened to be, this gym that was having the raid happened to be near like some sort of metal works company or something of that nature. They have some nice sculptures, which unfortunately did not take a picture of. But yeah, so that's sort of the first part. And I walked around for a while, caught more Bagon. I think I got my second shiny around there. And let's see. So I kind of ran into this a little bit later. This is near the area where I got that first Bagon earlier in the day. But you notice you have two gyms very close to one another, and they're actually both hosting raids. Because I guess those spawn more frequently during a community day event. I can't vouch for that personally, but it seems like it. So there were two of them there. One of them, as you can see on the left, was about to start. The other one had about almost 40 minutes to go when that first picture was taken. So that first one ended up being a Giratina. So that's a level 5 raid, and I wasn't going to take that on by myself since I didn't have any like research that said, you know, battle in a raid. I finished one earlier in the day. Didn't have any new ones. Although if you look in the far back there, far in the distance, you can see there was another one. It was the opposite direction of which I was traveling, kind of unfortunately. Looks like a Granbull back there, if I remember correctly. So I guess I had that option, but I somehow missed out on it. Judging from the timer, it probably actually started first, so I could have gotten that. That was a level 3, so that might have been within range for a single person. Yep, so let's see. Next up, I think I just go to the next slide. All right, so here's a few wrap-up photos. I managed to catch another Executor, and I'm not really sure. It doesn't give you a timestamp. It says his date. And I guess I could do through a complex sort to figure out which of those was the first one in all actuality. Let's get a little clock here. Okay. So I keep an eye on the time. But as you can see, that was also a 2-star raid, or whatever it's called, level 2 raid. So I've managed to complete that one. And got another, so you have seen both of mine. And then on the right hand, this is one I kind of wanted to show earlier in a previous community day presentation we did. Now, I'm not sure if you can see in the top right portion of, or the top of that right hand picture. That's like a poster they have. For some reason, it's like all the black and white Pokemon, which I guess are the next ones, although I think we have a ways to go through Gen 4 before we're going to see any of those. And here I am catching a Bagon. This is I think the name of the place. Again, no endorsement implied, but this is called Frugal Muse, which is a book and music reseller of used stuff. So you have Bagon standing on top of an encyclopedia set. So kind of a neat little composition there. I'm really glad I was able to use some of the AR stuff. I may try to pick out a different area of Madison for next month's event. And I'm not sure. I'm guessing they're going to do something for Detective Pikachu leading up to that movie. I'm guessing we'll get a different Pikachu with a different hat to sort of promote that. So that's going to be a good way to get that in. But the big deal here, of course, is you want to make sure you fully evolve a Bagon into a Salamence during this time period because it learns a special move. And I did take, I guess I appraised my shiny Bagon to see which one it thought was better. I took the better of those, and there you go. I have a shiny Salamence. You know, sometimes with the shinies, I do find that, like, as they evolve, they are not as pronounced. This one is pretty okay. With the alternate coloration, making it all the way. I think the Bagon, or not the Bagon. Gosh, that middle one. Let's see, Salamence, Bagon, Shelgon, I think is the one. Yeah. In the middle, it's kind of hard to tell just because of the way that Pokemon is covered, or colored, I should say. And then we've got this Salamence up here. So relatively powerful. I'm not sure exactly what its stats are, but it's got that. I did hear, what do I mention? Watching or going up on Twitter earlier today, I did notice that there were some folks in sort of the earlier time zones talking about how they had problems in, like, I don't know, it was New Zealand and Australia and stuff like that. Poke collection person I met a couple years ago in Australia was having some problems, and they had to extend things. I guess Bagon, I mean, Salamence is a very fearsome, fully evolved Pokemon for you to have, and it's, you know, having a much better opportunity. But truth be told, I don't think I really ran into anyone else playing Pokemon Go. I mean, maybe if I had been downtown near the Capitol building, I would have seen more. But, you know, and it's not, I usually don't see too many other people doing Pokemon Go on these things, on these community days. So maybe I'm just in the wrong part of town or something. Yeah, so that is Salamence. So I'm wondering what will happen after I end the slideshow, what the screen share will do. So let's see, I think that about... Aha! It went back to me. That's exactly what I thought would happen once the screen went away. But yeah, that was the Pokemon Go Community Day. So yeah, pretty busy day for me with everything going on between Record Store Day and that. I suppose, actually, if there had been a Pokemon thing for Record Store Day, they could have tied into that by putting out, like, I don't know, more Jigglypuff or something like that. Because we haven't got the 5th generation where Meloetta is, and that's one of the other ones. I think Chatot is also... I think Chatot is 4th gen. Sometimes I forget which one is in which generation. Yes, Chatot is 4th gen, so I guess they could have done that too as a thing. That would have been an awesome tie-in, at least for me. Obviously, like I said, can you tell I miss not having been able to go to Worlds last year in Nashville just a little bit? But yeah, so just give an update on what's going on with the channel and whatnot. Next weekend is Easter, which, by the way, speaking of Pokemon Go, they're doing some egg-type stuff there and Veneri and stuff of that nature. And that's happening. But what I'm probably going to release, I'm probably going to do another Why It Works video. If you're on Anne's Patreon, you have access to the edited version of the Power of Us discussion. Unfortunately, sometimes happens with Anne. She's gone dark for a week or two now, and I've sent a few emails but haven't heard back. Hopefully I hear back soon about that. But I do want to get the Power of Us onto the Digest podcast feed. And, of course, last month we recorded the Genesect movie discussion. And we're looking to do the live one either this week or maybe this upcoming week or maybe the week after. But then, of course, I have to go to Germany for the internationals there. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully I find out some stuff from Anne soon. But until then, this is probably going to about do it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have any comments, go ahead, put those underneath the video. All right, folks, thanks.